Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome. It is Thursday, and it is an amazing, amazing Thursday. So this is Teany Hidalgo from Your Purpose Driven Revolution. Good evening, everybody. We're officially live on Facebook, and today and every Thursday at 9 p.m., it's your weekly dose of high vibe, forward thinking, and revolutionary content that encourages you to discover the passions that lead you to your purpose. So thank you guys so much for joining. And for those who watch later on, thank you as well. So the topic of the day is how to light a fire this year without burning your butt. Yeah. A practical approach to getting things done this year without any burnout. So before I start that, I just wanted to really quickly forward this. Okay, so let's get started. So every day and every year, people storm into the gyms. They hire coaches and turn the leaves on so many areas of their lives. And then a month later, like everything goes to hell, right? In a handbasket, as people just lose their momentum and they just they're not interested anymore. They burn themselves out. One of the reasons is because they light a fire so bright and they motivate and push themselves so hard that they actually burn themselves out. So today we're going to talk about how to avoid that burnout as you try to get things done for the new year. Okay, so I hope that you guys are excited because I am super excited to be here with you guys today. Hey guys, as I go along, just feel free to comment and ask questions as I go along. All right, so thank you guys for joining. So now, if this is you and you are the person that every year tends to have that moment where you're like, oh crap, I started the year off like slamming and then like I kind of crashed after a while or after a month or even after 2 months, right? I mean, the goal of having these resolutions and these goals for the year is really to like have them throughout the year. And later on, I'm actually going to talk about a book, and I'll get into it in a bit, that is super, super helpful so that you don't have so much pressure on yourself to get things done, so quickly and burn yourself out. So we'll get into that in a moment. But thank you guys again for joining. So if this is you and you are the person who suffers from burnout, then you're in the right place today. Now, this doesn't happen to everyone, right? Because for some, lighting a fire and burning the boats is the only way that it works sometimes. So if you haven't heard that quote before, it goes, how do you take over an island? Well, you burn the boats, right? And that's true to life. If you can burn the boats and get it done without, any excuses, then do it, right? I actually had a chat with Emily, who is a book writing coach, and she's in this group, and we were just talking about this the other day. So the question is, how do you light that fire healthily this year and this January and anytime without burning your butt, right? Here are 5 ways to do that. So number 1 is find your piece of heaven. Now, you guys know that I talk a lot about this because I love talking about purpose and meaning and how you can bring that more into your life. So in other words, that really just means, making it worth it for you, figuring out what drives you, what's your motivation, what's your passion, what's your purpose in the thing that you're actually doing. What is that goal? What is the underlying reason for accomplishing that particular goal? Yeah. And this is so crucial, which is why it's number 1 for me. Because, when people lose weight for the sake of it or get a new car just to have a new car, that doesn't really give you any real drive to get it done. So ask, what is driving you at a deeper level? And learn to make more conscious decisions, because the last thing you need is yet another meaningless task to add to all the piles of things that you have to do, right? And I guarantee you that if you figure out your why, like Simon Sinek says, then, everything else will kind of work itself out, the how and the where and all that other stuff. So either write it in your calendar, journey, tattoo it on yourself. I know people are into that. Whatever that is, that it'll help you be more inspired, to wake up in the morning and get these things done. And I guarantee that if you figure out your why, then you'll definitely feel more inspired to actually get up in the morning. Okay, so that's number 1. Find your piece of heaven. Find your meaning. Number 2 is learn yourself, right? Learn what kind of pressure is a healthy pressure for you. Now, my sister, who publicly acknowledges herself as a procrastinator, she's not in this group, so she's not on Facebook at all, so she won't know. For her, having 10 weeks of lead time, it just doesn't work. Like she'll wait for the last minute. She'll wait for the last week to actually get it done. So she actually needs short periods of time to get things done. And that'll actually get her really revved up. So for other people, that actually stresses them out. And I mean, I remember watching this show. It was called Zumbo's Just Desserts on Netflix. And it's like one of those baking shows, but that one was based in Australia. And and that it was playing on Netflix. And there was a bake-off at the end where it was like the top 3 people who were, almost at the finish line. And one woman was just amazing. She had everything under control. Everything was organized. Like it was an assembly line of stuff. And this other woman just completely lost it and basically collapsed crying because the pressure and the short amount of time that she had to produce the dessert, it was just too much for her. It overtook her. She was just completely like, oh my God, it was too much, right? So figure out what timeline is best for you to get the thing done without losing yourself in the process. And some of that might be just trial and error, right? How much pressure does it take for you to actually have enough so that you don't procrastinate if it's too much time, but that you also get things done in a decent amount of time with enough time to check over the work and do whatever it is that you need to do, okay? So you have to figure that out. So number 3 now is accountability. And we talk a lot about accountability in coaching, right? It's so important to have someone who's going to keep you honest. Now, I have my crew of women some of them are actually in this group, Savannah and Heather, who keep me accountable. And I talk to them on a regular basis. Why do we do that? Not just because we're girlfriends and we're in the field, but also because we know the value of just knowing how to get things done and have someone hold you responsible if you don't. And it's important to do that because they help you keep your promise, right? They help you woman up and keep yourself true. So we don't just, need people to push us, right? Because that's just sometimes just added pressure. Like I don't have my mom as my accountability partner and I love her so much. But I just feel like she will be nagging me. She'll be like the voice in the back of my ear, just annoying the crap out of me because I know her because that's how she operates. And those aren't the people that we need, to be perfectly honest. What we need is the people who are going to be holding that space for us, right, to do what we do, but also like keep us on track and also, push us in a healthy way, while helping us not burn ourselves out. So my friends will also tell me like, oh my gosh, maybe you should calm it down. Maybe you should slow it down. You sound like you're a little bit, it's too much pressure for you, stressed out, whatever that is. So those people actually also help us to keep ourselves healthy in the process, okay? And maybe they might even give you ideas on how to do things better, right? How to improve and do it in an even healthier way. So find your accountability buddy, okay? The next thing is create and condition a routine around your lifestyle or create a lifestyle around it, right? Like figure out which version of that really is. Don't just do it and done unless you're writing like a book or doing something that has a start and a finish that's pretty quick, right? And even then you kind of need to dedicate the time and incorporate that in your lifestyle. Like I have a friend of mine who's a writer and he writes, scripts for movies, and he wakes up like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and without fail, he wakes up and does a couple of hours of writing before he gets into his day. Now, that takes a lot of dedication to wake up so early to get things done, and sometimes I wonder if he's getting enough rest, but that's part of this conversation, right? Like make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way. But that's dedication. He's included that in his lifestyle where he already knows that 4 o'clock in the morning, I set my alarm and I'm ready to start writing. That may not be for you. You might need to do something else, right, to add that into your life. But incorporate elements in your everyday and wake up at the time that you need to wake up, or maybe do it before you go to sleep, whatever actually helps you and, works for the way your mind works. And then condition your mind and your body. So whether it's 15 minutes a day for a task, on one thing a day to make it a routine, whatever that is, your brain actually remembers so much more when it's a routine, right? Because like when we talk about beliefs, right? Beliefs are just repeated things that you say to yourself. Well, these habits are actually repeated routines that you do over time. So start doing the things or the thing, and you'll be dedicated for life until it's done, right? So for example, I wake up at 7 a.m. every day, not just to take my son to school, but I wake up every morning, I give gratitude for 3 things, I raise my energy and decide what 3 things I want to accomplish today while I do these energy exercises that get my blood pumping in the morning. And that's maybe 5 to 10 minutes every morning. And that is kind of like my wake-up call, where it's like, yes, I am ready to start my day. Then I go fix my bed and I can get on with whatever I need to do, okay? This way it becomes part of you and not something you're stressing out about to get it done. So if you want to kick it up a notch, and this is where the book comes in, there's an expert level book that I absolutely love. It's called The 12-Week Year. Let me see if you guys can see it. The 12-Week Year. Yeah. And the author is Michael Lennington. Michael Lennington, he's the author. 12-Week Year. And what an amazing, amazing book that is. Because it basically condenses your year into 12 weeks. So into 3-month increments. So that you're not waiting for the end of the year to figure out what your next set of goals are. Because what if you actually finish your goals early, right? What if you finish your goals early and now you have all this time to do nothing? No, you actually want to do more things. Or what you can do with that time is actually spread out all your goals over time. And so that actually cuts out all the BS stuff that you really don't need to do and incorporate. And that's not to say you shouldn't take breaks and take vacations and all that stuff. That actually should also be planned in your 12 weeks, right? But the point is that you actually now can sort of set, okay, in 3 months, what can I realistically accomplish to get this thing done? And then you can break it down throughout the whole year and say, okay, along this year timeline, what do I need to do, and how can I break that into those different chunks and put that in there, okay? So 3 months, I'm going to do this. In 3 months, I'm going to do that. And after that, I'm going to do that. So there's a timeline. It works off of each other. Okay, so that's to kick it up to the expert level. And then the last thing is plan for the worst. Now, I talk a lot about this in my course because it's actually one of the last things I talk about, because once you figured out what your purpose is and you know what your passion is and you've owned it and all that good stuff, then you have to see it out through the long term. And seeing it out to the long term is also planning for things that might inevitably come up. And that's not always, right? But it's always good to plan in case those things come up. So for example, if you leave things for the last minute, if things might crop up or overtake what you need to do, if you get lazy about it, if you forget to do it, if you lack the motivation, if you're tired, right? All these things are things that could potentially come up and crop up. Now, what you have to do is plan for it, right? So if you leave things for the last minute or forget to do it, schedule it, right? Early in the day, set reminders, put calendar entries, put stickies on your wall, put stuff in your front door, put things in your bathroom mirror, whatever you need to do to remind yourself on a consistent basis to get that thing done. The second thing is know things that, might crop up or overtake what you need to do. Well, again, schedule it when things are light, or early in the morning, or late at night once you're done with your day. Manage to do it when things are not so overwhelming and you can actually dedicate the time to do it. The next thing is, what if you get lazy about it? Well, sometimes it's nice to give yourself a treat, right? So when you're done, show a picture to yourself with the reasons. Well, first, let's talk about the treat. When you're done, give yourself a treat when you actually complete it. And I've actually used this with some of my family members too, where I'm like, hey, you need to get that thing done, right? Or you need to give yourself, go to the gym 4 times a week or whatever. What if at the end of the week, you actually give yourself a good treat, like a piece of chocolate at the end of it, because, one piece is not going to hurt you. And it's actually, a good for your own boost, for self-esteem and all that good stuff. Or what you can do is show a picture to yourself with the reasons why you're doing it, right? Like a before and a potential after what, if you're working out, like what do you want to look like? What is your goal? What's your weight goal, or whatever that is? Or write it down on a piece of paper and show it to yourself, right? If you get lazy about it, because then you find that motivation, that meaning, that why, right? And then what if I feel overwhelmed, right? Like, oh my gosh, then you have to clean the house, so to speak. And also literally, sometimes cleaning your space actually leaves room and kind of opens up overwhelmment and actually gives it breathing room. So you no longer feel overwhelmed. I actually just cleared out my kitchen, and I cleared out my son's closet. I cleaned up my room. I was using the Marie Kondo method. Hey, Jasmine. And all these other things because I wanted to clean house, because sometimes when you clean house, it actually leaves room for allowing more things into your life. Okay. So when you feel overwhelmed, clean house and allow things, and use it as like a metaphor. Clean the space so that you can bring more things in your life and allow overwhelm not to take place. Then the last thing is, what if you're tired to get things done? Well, plan for breaks, plan for time off, spend time with family members and kids and all the things that you want to do in your life, because at the end of the day, you're doing it for a reason. Sometimes it's your family, sometimes it's for your kids. You don't want to like neglect them. And then when you're done with the thing, then spend time with them. You actually want to plan to spend that quality time doing the things that you love, and planning for those breaks that you're going to need, because obviously we're all busy people. So we need to plan those breaks sometimes. I literally sometimes plan times and breaks in my calendar and also in my work calendars too. Hey, Jasmine. Okay, so I hope these have been helpful for you, because they've been helpful for me. And I'll just recap really quick. The whole topic today is all about how to light a fire under you, like to get things done without burning your butt, right? And so the 5 things that I mentioned were finding your piece of heaven, finding the meaning behind why you're doing it, which is really crucial, number 1. 2 is learning yourself and understanding the pressure, the healthy pressure that you need to actually get things done. Hey, Cece. 3 is accountability, getting an accountability partner or a friend who will actually hold you accountable, but who also inspire you and keep you going. So find that buddy. 4 is creating and conditioning a routine or a lifestyle around that thing that you want to get done, because you don't want to just plop it into your life and it's kind of like, I mean, how am I going to figure how to put this in my life, right? You want to like figure out neat ways to allow these goals to be part of your everyday life and your lifestyle. That way that you keep it going over time, especially like if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to be healthy, or incorporate just healthy habits into your life. Yeah. And then the book that I mentioned was this one, the 12-week year. Super, super duper amazing book that everyone should read, that condenses basically your year into like into 3-month increments, so that you can get a lot more done. And then last is planning for the worst, because, you know, we want to do all these wonderful things, but then we forget that sometimes things happen, things come up. You know, you have to spend money on certain things, or you have to go certain places or handle certain things, or maybe you even just forget to do things, right? Or you get lazy about it. You're lacking the motivation. So we have to plan for those things in advance so that you can actually help yourself get over those humps when they do come up, okay? So that's the last piece, plan for it. So again, I hope these things have been helpful for you. And for those watching, thank you for watching. For those who are watching later on, I encourage you to watch the entire video, which has been super helpful for me, and I hope it'll be for you. And remember that sharing is caring. So add someone to the group who needs to hear this, and I will try to post this on YouTube later on, but you guys get the exclusive. And that's it. This is Teany Hidalgo. If you have any questions, feel free to comment here, and I will also respond throughout the week, obviously. This is your purpose-driven revolution, guys. And today and every day, Thursdays at 9, is your weekly dose of high vibe, forward-thinking, and revolutionary content that encourages you to discover the passions that will lead you to your purpose. So I see you guys. I will see you on the Passionful side next Thursday. Yeah? Bye.